Good morning. We will begin our program in 8 minutes. We'll begin our program in 8 minutes. Please find your seat. Thank you.
Good morning. The program will start in 8 minutes.
wondering how it's going up there. They don't make it easy. It's an interesting time to be up there.
Everyone, our program will begin in 5 minutes. Yeah, good to go. All right, maybe a little quicker than 5 minutes. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this groundbreaking ceremony for Carroll A. Campbell Jr. U.S. Courthouse here in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm Brian Stern, Regional Administrator for the U.S. General Services Administration, also known as the GSA. Before we continue, please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, led by GSA Cynthia Edwards.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Cynthia. As a native South Carolinian and a friend of the Campbell family, it is truly an honor to kick off the construction of a building that will bear the name of a man who served the state nearly 25 years, Governor Carroll A. Campbell Jr. My family has been close friends of the Campbells for decades, so it is my privilege to serve as Master of Ceremonies for an event honoring his legacy of service to the people of South Carolina. I know many of you here today have been anxiously awaiting the beginning of this project. This is an important event not only for the city of Greenville and the GSA, but also the U.S. courts and other agencies that will reside in this new $105 million facility. Thank you all for working with us on this project. Now that construction is underway, we expect the new 193,000 square foot courthouse to be completed in the summer of 2021. Thank you for the support on this project. Your involvement will ensure its success, and I look forward to continuing to work as we move on to the next phase. In addition to our honored guest on stage with me, there are several individuals and groups here that I would like to thank for joining. First and most important, I'd like to thank the members of the Campbell family who are here today. We are thrilled that you could join us to honor Governor Campbell, and I'd like to ask for all the members of the Campbell family to stand so we may recognize you. Additionally, we have several members of the judiciary with us today, including the Honorable Henry Floyd and Marvin Quattlebaum from the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, the Honorable Helen Burris from U.S. Bankruptcy Court, and the Honorable Robert Brian Harwell, Bryce Hendricks, Timothy Kane, and Kevin McDonald with the U.S. District Court. Welcome as well to U.S. Attorney Sherry Lydon and Assistant U.S. Attorney Sloan Ellis. Lastly, we have several members from the office of our general contractor, Brassfield and Gorey, and we are also joined by representatives of the Jacobs Engineering Group. Thank you all for joining us for this wonderful occasion. Our first speaker today is a man who needs a little introduction. Senator Lindsey Graham has been a fixture of South Carolina politics for nearly 30 years, serving first in the State House of Representatives, then in the U.S. House of Representatives, and finally in the U.S. Senate, where he now sits as the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Widely respected for his ability to work across the aisle on several critical issues facing our nation, Senator Graham has long been a proponent for our nation's court system and an advocate for the project here in Greenville. On a personal note, Senator Graham has been a close family friend for years. Senator, you've been an inspiration to me, and I greatly value your wisdom, your commitment to service, and your friendship. On behalf of the entire Stern family, thank you for your service to the people of South Carolina, and please help me welcome Senator Lindsey Graham.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you. That was very nice. I've never been called a fixture before. Sounds nice. I've been called other things that not so nice. I don't know which one's the most accurate, though. But thank you for the kind introduction. I am glad to be here. It takes a village to build a courthouse at a very minimum. So we're talking about a building, and we're talking about a person. And we're going to talk about it quickly because both of them deserve some comment here. The building is just not a building, it's a courthouse. And the one thing I've learned after going to Iraq and Afghanistan 54 times, it's a long way over there, and people over there have one thing missing in their lives: a courthouse they trust. People in the courthouse that are fair-minded, impartial jurors, strong advocates for their causes, no matter what station of their life, and judges that are going to listen to both sides of the story and make a decision. We take this for granted way too much. The amount of money we spend on the rule of law here is not nearly what it needs to be. As to this building, we're going to talk about it, the frustrations we've had with it, and the celebration of getting it started, but we're going to take a deep dive into how you build a courthouse and make sure it's the most efficient, and when it's done, it can be used. That's called oversight. But the building itself will be a place where people will come, usually at a low point in their life. It's like going to a hospital. You need some help. When you go to a courthouse, something's going on that's fairly traumatic. To our federal judiciary, one of the strongest institutions in South Carolina history has been our federal judiciary. From Strom and Fritz, they took care of about the first 150 years of the state. And maybe Tim and I can make it a few more years. We've all tried to pick qualified judges, men and women, of a disposition that understands that the people before them need to be respected, that run a firm, fair courtroom, but wear the robe well. And to all those of you in the federal judiciary, thank you. You bring pride to our state. So the rule of law is something missing throughout the world. Democracy, at its very essence, is not about voting. A lot of people get to vote. It's about how you are treated in society. If you're rich in America, you don't have to pay because you can. You only have to pay when you're supposed to. If you're poor, if you're struggling, nobody is out of your reach in terms of holding them accountable. That's a concept that we all hold near and dear, sometimes hard to achieve. But being the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and how do you get to do that? You outlive the people to your right and you keep getting reelected. So my goal as chairman is to make sure that the federal judiciary has the resources it needs and the facilities to implement the rule of law with dignity and respect. So this is just not a building. This is an institution that's part of who we are and makes us different, and it's worth protecting and preserving. As to Greenville, look around. If you want to find out how to build a building, talk to the people in Greenville. Just look around. I have never seen a place change so much in my life. 30 years ago, I'd come here to watch the wrestling matches, and I would run to my car. Enjoy the wrestling matches. It's pretty tough to get to your car. Things have changed fundamentally in Greenville, South Carolina. There is probably no place in America that has changed for the better than Greenville. It comes from the mayor, people under his charge and his council trying to get to yes and make it a good place to do business and raise a family. So a round of applause for those who've made Greenville what it is today. And my goal is for this courthouse to be functional and to fit in and be part of the new Greenville. And we will ride herd on that, I promise you. As to the name speaks volumes of for those of us who have been around South Carolina politics and the Greenville community for the last 30 or 40 years. Governor Campbell took our state to a new level, and we've never gone back since. He was the breakthrough governor in terms of putting South Carolina on the map internationally. Of all the things he did, and there are many to choose from, this BMW plant right down the road started the new South Carolina. Our name now is known all over the world as a place you can come and do business, a qualified, highly motivated, competent workforce, a government that wants you to succeed at the state, local, and federal level. South Carolina is humming throughout the world, and nobody, and I mean nobody, did more to make that possible than Governor Campbell. Nobody. His son was telling me that little brown building is where he started, right over there. And I like it when the courthouse is not named after a lawyer. So the bottom line is the building matters, and the man that it was named after made a big difference. And these are good times when you have something new that matters and remember somebody who made a difference. To the Campbell family, this is a big honor to you, to the mayor and all those who thought of how to name this place. You could not have done better. To the GSA, we continue to work with you. We want this to work. To everybody in attendance today, this is a big deal, not only for Greenville, for the Campbell family, but for all of those average South Carolinians who will come to meet justice in Greenville. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Graham. We greatly appreciate your partnership on this project. Next, I'm pleased to welcome Congressman William Timmons to the stage. Congressman Timmons was elected to represent South Carolina's 4th District in 2018. In addition to being one of the youngest South Carolinians to ever serve in Congress, he also serves in the South Carolina Army National Guard as a JAG officer, assigned to the 263rd Army Air Missile Defense Command. Please welcome Congressman William Timmons.
Well, good morning. It is truly an honor and privilege to be before you today. I feel like I don't really deserve it because this courthouse has been secured long before I got to Congress. The hard work that was put in by our delegation is reflected in this. So this doesn't happen without a lot of intentional hard work. Senator Graham, Senator Scott, Congressman Gowdy, the rest of the South Carolina delegation, they were able to prioritize the needs of the upstate as it relates to across the country. This is not happening just by chance. So I want to thank them for their leadership and their hard work. As it relates to the name, Governor Campbell left his mark on this state. He was a true public servant, a statesman, and he worked his entire life to serve others. It is very fitting that we name this building after him. Again, I want to say it's an honor to be a part of this, and thank you all for attending this wonderful occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Timmons. Our next speaker is Honorable Emily Murphy, the Administrator of the U.S. General Services Administration. In her role, she leads a staff of more than 11,000 employees nationwide, oversees approximately 360 million square feet of property, and approximately $55 billion in annual contracts. Under her leadership, GSA was able to produce $6.8 billion in savings and cost avoidance for customer agencies across its business lines in fiscal year 2018. Please help me welcome Administrator Emily Murphy.
Good morning. Thank you, Brian, for that warm welcome and for your team's hard work in putting today together. Thank you to Senator Graham, Congressman Timmons, Mayor White, Judge Coggins, and the Carroll family for joining us today. And as the federal government's primary landlord, providing space to our partners across the federal government is a core part of GSA's mission. I'll keep my remarks short because I'm sure no one has ever left one of these events saying, I really wish that fourth speaker had gone on a lot longer. I'm thrilled to be here today to demonstrate the federal government's commitment to investing in the thriving downtown Greenville community. The number of cranes in the sky and the amount of construction currently underway is impressive and a testament to the revitalization that's taken place under Mayor White's leadership. It's also fitting that we're honoring Governor Campbell, who was so instrumental to the economic development of the Greenville and community and the upstate in general, by naming this courthouse after him. For 15 years, the Greenville community has waited patiently in anticipation of this day. Once complete, the Campbell Courthouse will be a state-of-the-art facility and serve the long-term needs of our colleagues in the judicial branch. This will allow us to move the district and magistrate courts out of the Haynesworth building and the U.S. Courthouse across the street, which we plan to then renovate. Led by Senator Graham's work, we're thankful for the bipartisan support we've received from Congress to secure the necessary funding. We're also thankful for the partnership we've enjoyed with the U.S. District Court and look forward to working closely with the District of South Carolina throughout this project. Before I go any further, I'd like to recognize a few people. This project is the result of the hard work of our Regional Public Building Service team. Since being confirmed by the Senate, and thank you again for that yes vote, Senator Graham, I've been impressed by their talent, commitment, and ingenuity. A few quick thank yous to them, though. Laura Shaddix, who is our GSA project manager. Laura, can you stand up? Laura's work is just beginning. And I also want to thank our contracting officer, Cahal Duffy, who couldn't be with us today. I'd like to thank the team that helped plan today's event, led by Edward Mercer and Senator Graham's office, and GSA's Kelly Haynes and Cynthia Edwards. You've done a wonderful job. Our courthouses represent a lasting symbol of trust between our citizens and their government. Once complete, this courthouse will not only become an important fixture in the fabric of downtown Greenville, but will also serve as an enduring symbol of the trust between South Carolinians and their government. Thanks again to all of our partners and supporters who've made this project possible.
Thank you, Administrator Murphy. Our next speaker is the Honorable Donald C. Coggins, Jr., a district judge of the U.S. District Court for the District of South Carolina, a position he's held since 2017 when his nomination received unanimous confirmation from the Senate. Please welcome Judge Donald Coggins.
When Judge Bill Traxler called me and asked me if I would say a few words this morning on behalf of the judiciary, I have to confess that the first word that came to my mind was, why? As Brian indicated, I was just confirmed in 2017, sort of a Johnny-come-lately to this process. By the time I came on board, most of the planning and design for the project were over, and due to the hard work of others. I don't have the wit and experience with public speaking that Senator Graham has. I don't have a deep or distinctive voice like our departed friend Senator Hollings has. I wasn't involved in the project. So the only thing I can come up with as to why you folks are going to have to suffer through a few moments with me this morning is that this is some sort of weird initiation rite for the new guy. Nevertheless, I will try to say a few things on behalf of the federal judiciary in South Carolina that are appropriate for this wonderful occasion. I'm going to be speaking more toward the role of the courthouse and why this is such an important project. But I do want to take just a quick moment of personal privilege to address this remark to the Campbell family. The very first opportunity I had for public service came when Governor Campbell appointed me to the Board of Trustees for the Spartanburg Area Mental Health Center. And I have never forgotten that, and a large part of the reason that I have continued down that path was because he started me on it. And I know I am one of probably thousands of South Carolinians who could say the same thing. And so please accept my appreciation. Today we are gathered to celebrate the groundbreaking for our new federal courthouse, which will serve the Greenville Division of the United States District Court for the District of South Carolina. Folks, this is a great day. It is a day that many thought would never come. But through the dogged efforts of Senators Graham and Scott, our other elected representatives in Congress, Congressman Gowdy and Congressman Inglis before him, Mayor White and the city leaders here in Greenville, the General Services Administration, and most especially Circuit Judge William Traxler and District Judge Tim Kaine, this day has finally come. And on this day, I think it's appropriate for us to consider what this new courthouse will mean to the Greenville community and the people of the upstate. While for those of us who will work inside of its doors, it means new offices and new courtrooms, it will be for the public at large the physical embodiment of the rule of law which forms the very foundation of our form of constitutional government. Its imposing facade will hopefully inspire respect for the law in this and future generations that is only heightened and reinforced by the fair and impartial decisions to be rendered within its walls. The rule of law is something that is near and dear to me, and I know that it is near and dear to Senator Graham because at my confirmation hearing, it was the only question he asked me was about the rule of law. And as we all know, the polling shows that over the last few years, we have seen a weakening of public confidence in our institutions of government, and that even includes, to a lesser extent, the judiciary. In fact, this past November, our Chief Justice, John Roberts, felt compelled to issue a statement defending the independence of our federal judiciary. Chief Justice Roberts said, "We do not have Obama judges or Trump judges or Bush judges or Clinton judges. What we have is an extraordinary group of dedicated judges doing their level best to do equal right to those appearing before them, and that independent judiciary is something we should all be thankful for." Now, ladies and gentlemen, obviously my colleagues and I are humbled by and grateful for the Chief Justice's kind words. But more importantly, on the happy occasion of the groundbreaking for this new federal courthouse, let all of us who will work inside it rededicate ourselves to the rule of law and the principles of due process and equal protection of the law for every person who will ever appear inside this new courthouse. If we do that, then in concert with our brothers and sisters in courthouses across this nation, we will do more to restore public confidence in our systems of government, and in particular in our judicial system, than all of the press releases and public statements of presidents, senators, congressmen, and even chief justices ever could. Now, I noted that this day has been a long time coming, and for those of you who may not know, let me share just a bit of that project timeline. The original site funding for this courthouse was received through enactment of a public law in 2004. In 2006, the Senate introduced a bill to designate the federal courthouse to be constructed here as the Carroll A. Campbell Jr. Federal Courthouse. In 2011, this region of the GSA received the directive to start design from the Office of Design and Construction and began the acquisition of architectural and engineering design services for the project. In February of 2012, the architectural contract was let. In November of 2013, GSA fully acquired this site for the new construction. In 2015, the design of the project was placed on hold because of the uncertainty of receiving construction funding, but before the end of the year, a public law was passed to make sure that that funding was secure, and the design of the courthouse was then restarted or reinitiated in September of 2016, and by the following year, the contract for construction was let. So this day has been a long time coming indeed, and I want to note my thanks to Ms. Haynes at the GSA for those facts and figures. But finally, on behalf of the United States District Court judges and all the members of the federal judiciary affiliated with the District of South Carolina, I want to express our sincere and heartfelt thanks to everyone involved in making this project become a reality. Again, I want to especially thank Senator Graham and Senator Scott and Congressman Gowdy, as well as Senator DeMint and Congressman Inglis before them, and everyone involved in securing and maintaining the funding for this project over the years. We also extend our heartfelt thanks to Mayor White and the City of Greenville for their assistance with the procurement of this site and their support of this project. We want to thank GSA, the architects, engineers, and site designers who have labored mightily to keep this project within budget so that it could move forward. And last but certainly not least, we want to thank former Chief Judge Terry Wooten for his leadership of our court with respect to this project, and most especially Circuit Judge Traxler and District Judge Kane. To Bill, who I do not see here, and to Tim, from your many meetings in Washington and Greenville, the phone calls, the review of multiple drafts of proposed building plans and specs, I am sure that when you were confirmed, you never realized that being a construction contractor was part of the job description, and we all owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude. So finally, again, on behalf of the federal judiciary here in South Carolina, I join with each of you as we eagerly anticipate watching this new courthouse rise from this, at least on today, what is a muddy hole behind us, over the next 2 years, and may it always stand as a symbol of even-handed justice to all of the citizens of South Carolina and the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Coggins. I think you passed that first part of the initiation of flying colors. Our next speaker is certainly is a familiar face to the people of Greenville. Knox White has served the city's mayor since 1995. As mayor, he has set the goal of making the city of Greenville the most beautiful and livable city in America by placing an emphasis on neighborhood revitalization, economic development, and the transformational projects for downtown. Under his leadership, Greenville has avoided direct increases in property tax rates while maintaining the city's AAA bond rating. Please help me welcome Mayor Knox White.
Thank you very much. It is a great day. We wondered sometimes if it would be here, but good to have all the folks here. Senator Graham, thank you, and Congressman Timmons, Judge Coggins, Ms. Murphy, GSA, thank you very much for being here as well. To the Campbell family, thank you for being here on this special occasion. All of our members of City Council are here, at least several of them, because this is an important day for us. I want to recognize Russell Stahl and George Fletcher. I think I saw Amy Doyle. We're all here because it has been a long haul. It's been mentioned a couple times, so I'm sure some of you may not have been aware of this story, but you heard a little bit about it. I do want to note that all along the way, the critical moment, Senator Graham, thank you, because you helped us get that rock up the hill when sometimes it was sliding quickly downhill, so we appreciate that along the way so much. The actual naming of the building started with then, as you may have picked up, then Congressman Jim DeMint. That's how long it was. I believe at the time we had the support of Congressman Abraham Lincoln as well. So it's been a long haul on all of that, but here we are. It's really an important day. You know, places matter. They form and shape people's personalities and experiences, and I do want everyone to know that this place is so extraordinary for this occasion with Congressman and Governor Campbell that it almost gives you chills. But you need to know this. Places do matter. And for Carol Campbell, this was a very special place. It just coincidentally is where the federal courthouse will now lie. So in case you didn't know, before Carol Campbell was a congressman, when he was in his 20s, his business called Handy Park, which managed parking lots. And by the way, managing parking lots in downtown Greenville back then, I'm not sure what they did all day. There wasn't a lot of activity, but they had parking lots all over downtown. They privately managed them. And their office, where I used to meet with him when I was like 18 years old, was right across the street here on Coffee Street. Small office, about 4 people. And that's where he developed his, as he would say, for the rest of his life, all he learned about small business and how it relates to government, local and federal. Well, he kind of learned at Handy Park in dealing with people. And then, to top it off, the family knows where I'm heading with this one. I guess there wasn't a lot to do because he spent a lot of time 1 block away from Handy Park, right there, a block away further, just a block away further, at a place that was there for 50 years or so called the Corner Pocket Billiards. Now, Senator Graham, I think we're talking about place and influence. I always heard you were influenced by what you learned in politics at the bar or liquor store, your family. Learn how to relate to people. Exactly the same thing happened to Carol Campbell, and you need to know that. He hung at the corner billiards over beers, talking to people. Again, maybe they did have a lot to do at Handy Park, I don't know. But his relationships and the people and the anecdotes and the stories that I would hear, and so many of us would hear 30 years later, we'd hear about that man he met at the Handy Park, excuse me, at the Corner Pocket and what he told him. It was immensely influential on him, on what was going on in the community and the perception of elected officials and politics and what people ought to be doing. So can you believe it? When we began the search with GSA on a location for this courthouse, they put the Carol Campbell Courthouse right there in his neighborhood. So it's really a remarkable thing. But it did influence him in so many different ways. Finally, as Senator Graham said, on a more solemn note, this is an important day, not just for Greenville and our development and this end of Main Street, but for our whole community. It is true that when Greenville, South Carolina was not Greenville, South Carolina, it was just a dot on the map, and it was in the wilderness of the upstate of South Carolina. The very first building that was constructed was a courthouse, which tells you a lot. So here we are in 2019. It's another momentous day, another courthouse, a symbol of justice in our community, and that's what makes it so very important. So thank you all for being here for this day. We look forward to the grand opening later, and again to the Campbell family. It's very special to have you with us in particular. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor White, and thank you for the City of Greenville for being an excellent host. Next, we'd like Craig Brandt from HRBA Architect to come up and tell us about his vision for the project. Mr. Brandt joined HRBA in '97 and has received multiple accolades for his work, including the Young Architects Award by the American Institute of Architects. Please welcome Craig Brandt.
Judges, good to see you again. I am honored to address you today on behalf of the design team of this new federal courthouse. Our firm is based in Chicago, where the philosophy of design is embodied by the immortal architect Daniel Burnham. Make no small plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood. Indeed, big plans are what the building of a federal courthouse of this importance is all about. We set about the design of this new courthouse with an ambitious series of goals in mind, which form the basis of our plan. First, that it should embody the importance of the federal courts, while at the same time respond to its location in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. The exterior of the building, although having some similar traits to the nearby C.F. Haynesworth building, which is also a federal courthouse, reflects the towering heights that the city has achieved since that building was constructed in 1937. As such, it is reminiscent of a tower and sits on a podium which transitions this tower to the building plane, the ground plane. This tower expresses strength and stability with its cubic solidity, but also expresses its civic importance through a screen of deep-set monumental columns. The massing is powerful, the proportions are graceful. Second, that it should provide a dignified user experience. A formal landscape terrace will provide a soft transition to a stepped plinth marked with 2 bronze-like pedestals and 4 simple and stately columns that emerge from the entry pavilion. Upon entering the lobby, visitors will be able to view an integrated array of historically inspired murals rendered in a contemporary manner. The experience to the courtrooms will occur within a series of foyers and halls framed by pilasters. Natural light follows you along the front and the sides of the building as you approach the courtrooms, where the formal framework is most embellished with wood and dressed in natural light. As one exits the building, they engage with the colors and patterns of the architecture, as well as the colors and patterns of the city of Greenville. The third part of our plan is that the building design function at the highest possible efficiency, not only in terms of its use, but as a model of environmental stewardship. This stewardship will provide the restoration of native landscape. After much collaboration and exchange of ideas amongst the team members, including many people before you today, regarding construction methods and choices, we've arrived at a final design that reflects the best of what could be attained within the restrictions of the budget. It is our sincere hope that the building, landscaping, and artwork that results will become a source of pride for the citizens of Greenville. We are all participants in this opening of a new chapter in the city's history. We have both been delighted and humbled by the processes and events which have brought us here today to break ground for this next phase of development. It is now time to shift our attention from big plans to final completion. We are honored for this opportunity to share in your celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. While most of us knew Carroll Campbell as a South Carolina governor, our next 2 speakers knew him on a much more personal level. We're honored to be joined by Governor Campbell's sons, Carroll Campbell III and Michael Campbell. Gentlemen, we've known each other for years, and I know your father would be truly humbled by the appreciation and honor that he is receiving today. It's truly a pleasure to have you here today as we honor your father's legacy. Right now, we'd like to ask Carroll Campbell III to come to the podium and say a few words.
I was going to prepare remarks today, but I decided that, if I'm speaking from the heart, it's pretty easy. So it's kind of interesting being here, and Mayor White actually alluded to it earlier. I used to go to grade school right across the street here, and after I got out of school, as any young boy would do, I'd went to see his dad. And what did I do? What I wanted after I got out of school was I always wanted a snack. And so Dad said, son, you can go to Main Street, but you have to go north. You can't go south. And I never really understood that until after I became a teenager, and then I ventured down there. And that really was not the greatest side of town back in the day. And what Mayor White has done in this city is just remarkable. And I applaud your efforts, and I think this is going to be a beautiful contribution to it. But I used to go right there, the little building is, the little brick building right there is where I spent my afternoons doing my homework. And I think it's only appropriate that we come here today. When they asked my mother about naming this facility, as we always did in the Campbell family, we always kind of had a meeting, especially when we had something happen. So when Dad ran for Congress, he called Mike, called my mom, and we had a meeting, and he asked what our opinion. Not that our opinion really mattered, but he asked. So he did the same thing about governors, and so my mother, just kind of hold true to form, she did the same thing. She called Mike, she called me, and she said she got a call from Senator DeMint and was interested in possibly naming this courthouse after Dad, which I think is just wonderful. Again, it was probably a committee of one, but Mike and I did have an opinion, and we thought it was wonderful. And I think it's only appropriate here. The judge, this is known as upstate red clay instead of mud. But I really do want to thank Senator Graham for all your hard work. I really do appreciate it, and I know that Mom and Dad are looking down today, and they're happy, and we're excited about it. So, again, thank you. Thank you for all the hard work, and we look forward to be here for the groundbreaking.
Thank you so much for the kind words. We'd now like Michael Campbell to come up and have to say a few words as well.
Yeah, I want to echo what my brother just said. This obviously is a tremendous honor for us, and like Mayor White said, it is only fitting this location. And to kind of expand on the story, and my mom would kill me if she knew I was going to do this, but to expand on the story about the corner pocket down the street, that was Dad's first business that he ever really ventured into. Thing is, he didn't tell my mom he was going to buy the business. And he was in his early 20s and showed up and said, well, I bought the corner pocket. She said, you did what? And so that set off his world into the world of the business world, and where he learned more about politics, as Senator Graham has said many times, than he ever learned in the State House or in Congress. But it is fitting because we have Handy Park was right across the street where he really launched his career into politics and into public service. Just down the street is the federal courthouse, the old federal courthouse where his congressional office was. And then, of course, he was here as a part of the resurgence of Greenville, and Mayor White, thank you for the leadership that you provide up here, because Greenville would not be what it is today without your leadership, and thank you, sir, and your friendship, most importantly, over the years. One thing about this, and Dad, we have been honored to have a lot of things named after our father over the years, but this is a particular honor to us because it goes to the very essence of what he stood for. And that is, what does a courthouse represent? It represents justice. And he was all about justice. What is justice? It's about serving people. And that's what he was all about, was public service to people and making sure that everybody had a just outcome, a just life. And that's what he was all about. And I cannot tell you, when we first got word that this was going to be named in his honor, like I say, we were obviously very humbled, but it just kind of took us aback that he would be so proud about this. And my brother mentioned the church across the street. Here again goes to how fitting this is. His mother is buried in the church right across the street from here. So this means a lot to us, and thank you all for being here. Thank you all. I know a lot of people have put a lot of hard work over the years into this, and we just really appreciate it. So thank you.
I want to thank all the speakers today. It has truly been an honor to be here to celebrate the start of this project, and it's been a privilege to serve as the Master of Ceremonies. We at GSA are proud to be a part of this project and are confident the benefits of this project will have long-lasting positive effects on the city of Greenville. When we're finished building the Carroll A. Campbell Jr. U.S. Courthouse, I hope you all will join us again for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. At this time, we'd like to invite our guest on stage to join me at the shovels for the ceremonial groundbreaking. Please keep your seats as our speakers make their way to the back of the tent. And thank you so much for all of your time.
Just for a couple of years, but I mean, that was his first deal. My mom was living in it.
Why we squish down over this way?
Hey, Amber, can you just grab my mic off the podium and we'll wire up Graham that way?
I don't know which one is which.
There were two logs up there.
That's fine.
One's our guess.
Yeah.
Whichever one's not yours is ours.